Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. And obviously, yes, we're talking about the man on the thumbnail, the man in the article header, Alejandro Garnacho. We're talking about him. Obviously, we talk about Matisse Tell as well. And supposedly the move wouldn't affect the summer budget. I'm going to be talking about Jack Grealish. We're going to talk about the game today, some of the Ange quotes. Also, a potential competition that I didn't know existed, I'll be honest, that Spurs could win. You'll see what I mean when I get to it, because I've only just found out about 10 minutes ago, hence why I'm a few minutes late, because I was trying to do a bit of research on it, because I've never heard of this competition before. So there you go. You see what I mean? You'll be a bit like, oh, yeah. Yeah, morning all, morning all. Milton, James, Saya, Adi, Spurs, Baz, Adventurous Paul, appreciate that, Baz, mate. Yeah, yesterday's stream was fantastic. We were on for a very, very long time. I think yesterday's stream gained like 30 subscribers, which for a channel this size is just bonkers. But look, let's talk about obviously the main thing on this video, which is going to be Alejandro Garnacho. And look, the Man United player, the winger, the guy I think has a lot of talent. I really, really do think he has a lot of talent. And I'm not saying he's great right now, but he has talent to be great. There's obviously those questions surrounding his attitude. That's really, I think, what's probably stopping a lot of Spurs fans from, being fully involved and invested in this. But let's start with this. So, came from Premier side saying that Tottenham are keen on exploring a deal for Manchester United winger Alejandro Garnacho. The Argentinian has been told he is to leave Manchester United this summer. He expected to be available for under 30 million. So I'm sort of thinking about this. There's chatter surrounding Heung-Min Son and next season him having a less intense role. And I think some people took that as, oh, he's going to be relegated to a backup and things like that. No, it's not that. And I've said it so many times this season, you'll be very bored of me saying it. You'd be bored of me saying it again. The idea is not to have players having to play 3 times a week if necessary. Heung-Min Son is still fantastic if you're not asking him to play an obscene amount of football every single week. So what are you going to be doing at the left wing position? What is the most logical and next step for your left wing evolution? And I expect us to be linked with quite a few different players. Obviously, I've talked very much about the guy that I truly want is Eberechi Eze, and that'd be the guy that I would want us to go for. But what would be the play? And look, Garnacho could be on the list. Okay. Now, I was having sort of a look at this season with Garnacho, and he's been a bit of an Iron Man because he has played in 58 games this season. And just to give you a heads up, Garnacho is 20. He turns 21 in about 6 weeks' time. So he's 21 years old. He's played a lot of football for Manchester United. He's played 93 times in the Premier League, 21 times in the Europa League, 13 times the FA Cup, 10 times in the EFL Cup, 6 times in the Champions League. He's obviously got a Community Shield appearance as well. He's played a lot of football for Manchester United, 144 times, and 144 games played, 26 goals, 22 assists, 48 goal contributions, call it 1 every 3, isn't really that bad. I know we sort of think, because he plays for Manchester United, he mustn't be any good. But that's actually quite a return when you think about how bad Man United have been, over the last sort of few years. Not saying they're a bad side, they've not won anything. I'm just saying for what you expect of Man United, right? This season, he's played 58 times across the Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup, EFL Cup, and the Community Shield. He's got 11 goals. He's got 10 assists. So he's got 21 goal contributions in that time. Just under 1 every 3. Again, with Garnacho, it's a fascinating one. You sort of listen to like, I actually sat there and listened to Mark Goldbridge yesterday on the United stand because I wanted to get a bit of an idea of how he and that community, obviously that community is massive. It's, over 2 million. Wanted to have a bit of a feel for how they viewed Garnacho. And I think a lot of them are in an agreement that he's talented. He's super talented. He's one of their best youngsters that have come through in last few years. But it's right, they said it's the right time. You can't say what you said after the final and expect to not have any repercussions. After the final, going and really questioning Amram, saying why is it that I didn't start? I started all the games leading into it, and I get it. I do totally get it. I get his frustration. He is a young player, and when you're young, you do say and do stupid things. You really do. And that's, you could put that down to, is that the South American spirit in him? He's very passionate, very fiery, maybe. Is he the right move though? And again, I've sort of gone back and forth on this. Flywire, how are we? Al dente, Steve. I'll be talking about the game in a bit, Adiz, don't worry, mate. I've gone back and forth on this. I was sort of thinking, well, then maybe his wages are quite high, and supposedly the wages are somewhere between about 50 to 55,000 a week. Which, look, incredible money. We'd all be absolutely thrilled to earn that money, right? For a footballer at Manchester United, that's pennies, right? A footballer in the Premier League, I don't know what the average is for a Premier League, but when we talk about the bigger teams and the bigger boys, it's not crazy, if I'm honest. So with Garnacho, I sort of I'm undecided. I guess I'm fence sitting. I'm undecided because my attitude is I think there is a player there. I think he is talented. He's Prem proven. He's had multiple seasons now in the Premier League. He would be phenomenal, in terms of his attitude of I want to prove Manchester United wrong. But at the same time, this is my question. Is your change room, is the squad, is the locker room, is it a strong enough group? So we're separating the manager right now. We're separating all the other factors that go into it, just the playing staff. Is that a strong enough group to handle what might be deemed an attitude problem? Now, I'm not saying he is an attitude problem. I'm just saying allegedly he's deemed as such. Because the talent is there. I don't think it's not there. If it is under 30 million and, you're not paying him stupid wages and things like that, obviously his favourite centre-back in the world plays for us. He said that Christian Romero is the best centre-back in the world. Again, I don't know. I've got a feeling that even though, so they rejected a bid in January from Chelsea. If I remember correctly, I think it was Chelsea, and there might have been someone else. Not sure who. And it was something like 50, 60, something in that realm, right? The issue is, I'd like to know, actually, I just want to get how many years left on his contract he has. Give me a second. So he's got 3 years left on his contract. Okay. Look, I mean, the issue is every team now knows he's gone. Like every team, a buying team now knows, well, he's not there next year. So why would we give them the money that they want? Now, it's obviously great for their financial fair play and debt and things like that if they sell a Garnacho because they bought him for pennies, right? But no team is going to give them 60 million. No team would give him 50 million, in my opinion. I think they'd probably get about 40 is like the maximum. So that would probably include add-ons and things like that. But if it's under 30 million, you're going to get a lot of teams interested. You're going to get a lot of teams in Spain. You'll get teams in the Premier League. I don't know why, but I believe a Dortmund would be interested in him, especially if they would move off of Gittins, for example. I feel like they'd be interested in him. I don't know. I think what also probably hasn't helped Garnacho is the Amorim system isn't suitable for wingers because the wingers are the fullbacks who are now the wing backs. They're two guys behind the striker aren't wingers. They're tens in theory that might float out to wings. Garnacho is an out and out winger who can play a little bit central. He's kind of the opposite. So he would suit Ange Ball absolutely. I guess it's the idea of, when we've talked about the idea that Spurs are looking to sign experienced players this year, the irony is he is quite experienced. His age will tell you that he's not, but he is. I mean, 144 games played for Manchester United, and he's 20 years old, is a serious return. He's not the top of my list for that winger position, not at all. Not at all. Eze would be my number one guy for that sort of. I think, yeah, Eze can play the wing. It's not that he can't. But I guess I'm not opposed to it, if you know what I mean. I guess I'm not opposed to it. I guess if you've got a strong leadership group, you've got a strong team, you've got a strong group, you could we all sit in the NFL, in the American football. If you've got a great, group, you'll always handle a character. You'll always handle a character. Now, if you've got 4 or 5 different characters, it's a bit difficult. But if you've got 1 or 2, if the group's strong, it will handle any character, any attitude issues. It will. And then you need strong leadership from your management side to, you know, handle it as well, to aid that. So we'll see on that. Let's talk a bit about Jack Grealish, okay? Because again, this is another sort of winger position style player, and a guy that, look, his trophy cabinet and his bank account will have told you the Man City move has been fantastic. It has. You look back in 10, 20 years, Jack Grealish will look on his trophy cabinet in 20 years after he's done playing, and he'll go, "God, I've won a Premier League, I've won Champions Leagues, I've won FA Cup, League Cups, I've done it all in football, I've got England caps." But he has struggled. And he went there with such promise, £100 million player. And, it's just been difficult for him. And I like Grealish. And I've always said, you guys have always heard me say, Jack Grealish is the most Spurs player that's never played for Spurs. And that, by the way, is not because he's better than us or worse than us. It's purely on the style of player that he is and the style of play that he has. But when you sort of look at his, Man City season this year, 32 games played, 3 goals, 5 assists, 1,500 minutes. I don't think the return is there that you would want. He's 29. He's basically 30 at the start of next season. 2 years left on his deal. The issue I have with Grealish is obviously there's injury issues, and Spurs, we seem to get even more injury issues than Manchester City do. So how would he handle that? But also it's the wages. The guy's on like 300 grand a week or something ridiculous. Like Spurs won't go anywhere near that. Spurs would say half of that max. You know what I mean? Like they won't go near that, And I like Grealish, I do. It's not to say that I don't, but this always feels like this is about 2 or 3 seasons too late, if you know what I mean. I mean, he joined Man City in the summer of 21. So he's in his mid-20s. He's perfectly ready to go. It was probably a move that even 2 years ago would have been more appropriate. I mean, 20 games played in the Premier League, 715 minutes, 1 goal, 1 assist. That's not it, is it? It's just not it. It's just not it. So, yeah, I think this is not going to be one that we're on, but Jack Grealish, I'll give you what it says. Eric Canoa said that Atletico Madrid have joined the race for Manchester City winger Jack Grealish. He's also a target for Villa, Newcastle, and Tottenham. And don't get me wrong, I think he'd be good at Tottenham, but it just does. It feels like it's too late. This feels like it's too late now, and it's a shame. It is. It's something that we should have had this deal done, way before we ever joined Manchester City. But you know what I mean? I just can't. The injuries, the cost of the deal, I think you can get better value for players that are going to stay fitter. I mean, the one thing you can say about Garnacho is the guy stays fitter. He's going to be a lot cheaper. And, well, look at this season. He's got the returns. He's got over 20 goal contributions this season. Grealish has got 8, and you factor in those injuries, and it's such a shame. It is such a shame, Again, a couple of years ago, I probably would have been way more into it, but just not now. It's just not. It's just not the right time now. You know what I mean? Uh, no, Paul, I don't know that, mate. Sorry. Um, So yeah, we'll start on Grealish. All right, last one up on Matisse Tell before we talk about the game today, and we talk about the competition that Spurs have an opportunity of winning another trophy. You'll see what I mean. Again, Premier Side saying Spurs are expected to make the loan of Matisse Tell permanent. The funds were made available back in January and aren't expected to take away from the summer's budget. The club see Tell as a future star and are expected to give him a significant increased game time. Well, that's interesting. That is interesting. You know, not for that deal to not affect the summer moves is very fascinating. I think I was always really worried that you've got to factor in, even if it's 40 million, right? You've got to factor in that Matisse Tell is going to take away from your summer budget. You've got to buy Big Kev Dancer as well this summer. Well, that's like what, 28 or something? I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I was thinking that's 68 million just for players that are already here. It's the same cycle, that we get a player on loan, he joins in the summer, but it takes away from our summer moves. Whereas January, we don't spend anything because we haven't done any, we haven't spent any money due to them being signed in the summer. Whereas if this deal has already been accounted for and it won't take away from the summer budget, great. You know what I mean? Great. So I think Tell is a good player. I think there is a potential star there. I think there needs to be for players of him and Lucas and Archie and Pape. Pape is a really good one for this continuity. There needs to be structure. There needs to be all those things that when you join a new workplace that you look out for because you want to be able to develop. These are the same things. They're footballers. They might get paid a lot of money, but at the same time, they require those things as well. They're human. And with all the signs pointing towards Ange staying, these players are going to get it. Bergval's going to get another season under Ange, another season in Ange ball, and Archie's going to develop that little bit more, and Tell's going to develop more. I think people go Tell was rubbish at the start. I think they have super unrealistic expectations of footballers. They don't understand football because if I say to you, "Oh, cool, we're going to sign you. We're going to employ you. I'm going to employ you, right?" And you go, "Amazing." I go, "Cool." So we normally have like 25 staff members, and you go, "Oh, that's a good amount." I go, "We've only got 13 at the moment, and yeah, even though you're not up to speed and you don't know what it is that your job that we need you to exactly do, can you just go do that?" And you're like, "Well, I haven't really got the training that I need." You like, just get on with it. And then if you don't succeed, you go, "Well, that's not fair on me." And that is the exact same thing that Matisse Tell came into. He had no match fitness. He hadn't played football leading in. He'd been, getting 0 minutes at Bayern Munich. We had 12 to 13 managers and 12 to 13 injuries. And then you throw that on top of, well, then now we need you to do this. Now we need you to do that. And it's not really exactly fair on him. Whereas when we actually started to get a lot healthier, and again, let's make sure we're aware. If you make 8 to 9 changes for the Premier League games, it's not going to be fluid. It's not going to be consistent. It's not going to be great at times. You look at the Europa League side of things, we look great. That's the main 11. And Tell, when he was playing with that main 11, looked pretty damn good to me. So for me, I think there's a player there. This increase in significant game time, I think you could put that down to maybe Heung-Min Son and less minutes next year of, not having to, let's not play him in stupid games where he doesn't need to be playing in. But also, Richarlison may be moving on. I think there's a good chance Richarlison and Basuma do move on this summer. Is Tell the sort of next guy up front behind Solanke? And again, if he is, you need to make sure that you're giving Solanke rest. I mean, Solanke broke down a little bit this season due to the all the volume of football he's having to play. It'd be nice going forward if we don't need to force him to play that level of football again. And I think again, all of these players play better when they're not having to play crazy football. All these players play better if they're not got 12 injuries next to them. We got semi-fit towards the end of the season, and we win a European trophy because of it. So that's my thinking on players, not just like Tell, but Odebear and Pape and Bergval, all those younger guys. They'll all develop so much more due to a bit of structure and consistency. So yeah, I do think Ange is here next season. If you don't think, if you want to ask me, I do think Ange is here next season. He said, look, he's not had a conversation with Daniel Levy, but I also think, for a guy who says, season 3 is always better than season 2, that's a guy that probably knows something. That's a guy that probably knows something. So, you know, we get on with that. Talking a little bit about the game today before I talk about the competition. The new competition, it is very new, but I'll talk about it in a second. Talking about the game today, and Ange's talking, and I'm not going to talk about the parade and what this trophy means, and his holiday and things like that. But they asked him about talks with the club for next season, about obviously his future, and he says, "I don't worry about that. I'm good at relaxing. Come Monday, I won't have a care in the world. I won't have a care in the world, but I assume I'll have an indication at some point, only because there is some serious planning to do more than anything else. I won't have any problem switching off." Including, they asked about a different approach in order for the start of preseason, including bringing some experienced players to supplement a youthful squad. He says, you learn from every season. I think looking back at our preseason last year, I don't think it was ideal. There were certain things we needed to do differently and certainly needed to design differently for the upcoming year. How we get our guys ready for what's going to be our biggest challenge of Premier League football and Champions League football. We know it's a massive challenge. So how do we prepare our players? I think our players will be better equipped. When we started the season, people forgot we signed Dominic, who was unbelievable for us. But then we signed 3 teenagers. They weren't ready for what was ahead. They've been unbelievable. Obviously, Wilson has missed a lot of the season, but Archie and Lucas have been unbelievable. We signed 3 teenagers, but next year, they're not going to be teenagers. They're going to be more than ready and will be in a better space straight away. That's the other lesson learned, that we can't, and I don't think anyway, that would be my direction, that you need to now bring in some experience for this group in terms of our recruiting. So you learn lessons from that. And I said all along, I have still felt there was some growth this year, and we'll be much better placed at the beginning of next year to tackle what is ahead than where we are at the start of this one. So look, I think that's telling. That's a lot of telling information in that, that sounds like a guy that's staying. I think that's a guy that's relaxed because he goes, what, you're going to sack a guy that's won your first trophy in 17 years? You're going to sack the guy that won your first European trophy in 41 years? That's brave. He's not getting sacked, in my opinion. No, he's here next season. The experience side of things, I do agree with. Even though Lucas is still a young player, and Archie's still a young player, Wilson's still a young player, the sheer volume of football, especially Lucas and Archie have had to play this season. Obviously, Wilson's missed time, but he's been playing a lot more football recently. The volume of football those guys have played, even Mikey's played a lot of football this season for his age. The sheer volume of football they've played this season sped up their process for next year. Sped up their process for next year in terms of their development took another couple of leaps that you sort of look at it and go, they feel senior players now, even though they're very much not, and they're very young still, but they feel senior players. And we saw what that regular football did for Lucas Bergval. And you think before the final, we were all sitting there praying that he could get back fit. Wouldn't have thought that at the start of the season, would we? And I think he's going to be a phenomenal footballer, by the way. I really, really do. It's what you do around them now. I'm not expecting us to buy 30-year-olds, serial winners, but players that are like 24, 25, that kind of range. The big Kev Danso range, that sort of early mid to mid 20s, where they're still young. They've still got, 5, 6, 7 years of quality to offer you. But they also have played, 3 or 4 seasons of top flight football that you can then put your hat on and say they've seen what you need to see, in terms of the pressures of being a top flight footballer. So I think that's super exciting. Look, I think Spurs are in for a really interesting summer this year because I think there's an opportunity to launch. I think there's an opportunity to launch, but I think there's an opportunity to whittle down the squads. A lot of players need to leave still. Like, I think, and this isn't a shot at anyone, please don't think it is. I think at times as fans, we get too excited about players coming in and we completely forget that players do actually have to leave at some point. Like, it's really fascinating speaking to people because, you go, we should sign this. Oh, we need to sign these 5 or 6 players. It's like, well, then who are you leaving in the squad? And you go through the squad and they go, well, I don't want to let anyone to go. And it's like, that's not how it works. You don't get to have a squad of 50 players. There's requirements. There's restrictions where you can only have a certain amount of players. If you're going to bring in, like this summer, if you want to bring in like 6 first teamers, then guess what? You're going to have to sell a few because you're going to let 3 go in Forster. I mean, there's chat about Alfie Whiteman going. You might even make that 4. Okay, cool. You've got 4 going. You still need to get rid of 2, probably. Who are you going to get rid of? So all those things come into it that we need to be sort of aware of, that, if you do want those sort of volumes of players coming in the door, then you need to put some players to go out the door. And that we talk about, it could be a chat around Ben Davies. It could be a chat around Heung-Min Son, Richarlison and Basuma and Bentancur and Romero. There's a chat around a lot of those players in the squad this summer to come. Just be prepared for it is all I'm saying. Don't be opposed to what it could look like is probably the way I would sum that up. Right, I want to talk about this. This I've stumbled across, and this is an opportunity for Spurs to win another trophy, right? And I was late to the video today. I was probably about 2 or 3 minutes late because I spent 15, 20 minutes researching this trophy. Okay. So yes, it's not your Super Cups. It's not your Premier League sort of thing. It's a new competition that got created. And the idea is obviously to get a game together where 2 teams that would never play each other unless it's a friendly, right? Or the Club World Cup, maybe. And there's chatter around where the game should be held. Okay. So let me tell you what the competition is. It is the UEFA-CONMEBOL Club Challenge. Okay. So this has only been around, I think they've only played 1 game. They didn't play last year, which would have been held between Atalanta and someone. I can't remember. Is it Atalanta and Ecuador Ligas de Quito? Liga de Quito. Okay. No offense to the Ecuador guys. I've never heard of them before. So this, the UEFA-CONMEBOL Club Challenge. The idea is this is like a Super Cup in a way. You have the winner of the Europa League face the winner of the Copa Sudamericana. Okay. If you play FIFA, you remember those blue cards. It is that. Yes. So it is that competition. I don't truly know. I'll have to quickly research. I don't truly know what the the winnings are of it at the moment. I'll do a bit of research in just a second. So the first game. Wait, hang on. So the current holders are Sevilla of it. It was founded in 2023, apparently. So the winner, so we would be, I believe, it says Racing Club is on the brink of adding another international trophy to its collection with the proposed UEFA-CONMEBOL Club Challenge, a new competition that could pit them against a Europe's elite. Fresh off their thrilling 2024 Copa Sudamericana victory, ending a 36-year title drought under Gustavo Costas, Racing Club now has the chance to raise yet another prestigious trophy. The Pro Showdown would see the Argentine side face Tottenham Hotspur, the reigning Europa League champions from England. This exciting initiative came from Racing president Diego Milito. who presented the idea at a recent FIFA Congress, gaining attention from CONMEBOL officials and European football representatives. The aim is to create another Super Cup pitting South America and Europe's clubs champions against one another. So far, only one edition of this contest has taken place back in 2023, when Sevilla beated Ecuador's Independiente del Valle at Sevilla's stadium. Melito suggested the next edition should be hosted in South America at Racing Club's home ground. There is also a possibility that the match could be staged in the United States to reach a broader audience. Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed. It isn't. Obviously, we know that we will play in the UEFA Super Cup. We will be playing the winner of Paris Saint-Germain or Inter Milan. That is next weekend, next Saturday. So we know about that. That game is normally in the August periods. Just get the date of Real Madrid versus Atalanta to give you an idea. I think it was the 14th of August. Yeah, the 14th of August, Real Madrid won 2-0. There you go. So you get the idea, sort of mid to late August. It'll be somewhere in there. J-Mac, how are you, mate? Miske as well. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, Miske as well. Don't forget him. I don't know about this one. Obviously, I don't think it's going to take place. Not, we're right at the end of May. I don't know if it's going to get the legs necessary for it to get done in time. I mean, Sevilla versus was the 19th of July, 2023. I don't know if you're going to get this done in time. Wow, Sevilla won on penalties. They had to get a 91st minute equaliser to take it to penalties. Is that because maybe they haven't started their season? I don't know, but I would love this. I think this is a phenomenal thing. Now, the only thing is, obviously, you're adding another game of football to, quite a hectic schedule. And it is. I don't feel sympathy in terms of they earn great money. I do. Yeah, there is sympathy. Obviously, they are playing a lot of football. Hence why you try and have these bigger squads to cope with it. I'd like it. I think it's a bit different. The thing is, I would probably want to try and coincide with it with like the preseason tour, maybe, or something like that. Maybe that's the way you do it. I mean, 19th of July, that is around tour time, isn't it? So, do they want to go to South Korea for it? Because we're going to South Korea, aren't we? I don't think this is going to get the legs. I don't think so. Would I like it to? Yes, depending on where, because I don't want us to go to South Korea and then have to go to Argentina to play a game. Don't get me wrong, we've got players that would love that. You got a lot of players in that squad that would go, "Oh, a game in Argentina, yeah, let's do it." A game in South America, let's do it. But it's just the travel. I don't think Spurs would bite on the travel. They would say, "Let's do it," but let's do it in Europe. Let's do it in England. But I don't know. Again, I'd like it. It's another European trophy. Why the hell not? If you win 2 Super Cups in one season, it's a pretty damn good season, if I'm honest, for Spurs. But I don't think this is going to get any legs whatsoever. Would you guys like it though? Let me know in the comments. Would you guys like that game to happen? I don't know what you guys think, but I'd like it to. But I just don't think it had the legs. 3 cups in 3 months. We will be there, mate. We will be there. Honestly, yeah, I'm going to come to talk about the game in a minute today. Don't worry, I'm going to get to it in just a second. Now, Baz, mate, it won't be considered pre-season cup. It's going to be like, I don't know, bigger than the Champions League. Do you think Romero will still go to Atleti after winning the Europa League? Hell, you're a Atleti fan, if I remember. I think it's a good question because there is a school of thought that he came to Spurs, he's won a trophy, he's won a European trophy. He started the game as the captain. I know he wasn't finishing the game as captain, but he started the game as a captain. He was phenomenal. He could very much look at it as a, hey, I did my job. I've delivered. It could be the right time. This might be the last big move that he would get. There's also a case that Spurs might go, no, let's just increase his wage. Let's give him the pay rise that he deserves. 2 years left on his contract. Spurs aren't forced to sell him this year. He loves Ange. You can tell he loves Ange. He loves playing for Ange. You know, he's got some great friends in the squad. Obviously, I know there's a few Argentinians at Atleti. I think winning this trophy was Atletico Madrid's worst nightmare when it came to signing Romero. Because obviously now they're looking at it going, well, they won a trophy. They've got Champions League football. All those things that he wanted to win trophies and and get Champions League football, he now has at Spurs again. You know, and 2 years left on his contract. It's if it was 1 year after his contract, then it's a hell of a conversation. If he's not going to sign a new deal, then he's gone. But I'd expect Daniel Levy this summer to sit down with his representatives and talk about a new deal. Where that deal talks go, I don't know. But yeah, I think the chance of him staying increased dramatically after that game. And the way I looked at him, I saw him at the parade, him and Big Kev Dancer. I took a video and they're hugging and things like that. Look, I know that he was drunk the whole time, last few days, and he deserves it. The way I think he looks at, maybe not the higher ups, but the way he looks at the club and the squad, the fans, he loves it. He actually does love us and he loves being here. Got to give him that big pay rise if you want him to stay, though. That's the only thing. The season will be half cut. Oh, mate, I will be real with you. Today's game, winning or losing it, I would like to win it, but losing it, I'm a European trophy winner as a fan. You are as well. I know some people are going to get really upset and go, Spurs have lost this many games this season. It's like, oh, shut up, you absolute wet wipes. Honestly, I can't even be bothered with you. Want a European trophy? Be happy about that, So we'll sort of see. We'll sort of see. I think a lot of players will be upset, though, if Ange goes, yeah. The Washington Commanders, David. When was the last time you were in a Super Bowl? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, David. Ooh-ah. Also, this guy. Oh, yeah, no, someone will say Ange out when we lose today. Someone will 100% say it. You know they will, and they think they're really the best fan in the world because they're ahead of everyone. It's like, go outside. You see that green thing outside called grass, go and touch it, all right? I need to buy a Europa team top. Have you seen how expensive they are? I had a look on the website yesterday. They are expensive. I'm not saying DHgate, but DHgate. Are we still going for Cardoso? Don't know yet. We shall see on Cardoso. Best coach ever, Joe Gibbs. Best coach ever is actually now coaching in college football at North Carolina and Bill Belichick, my friend. And your three quarterbacks are not him. I think that's why. Yeah, maybe so. Brighton just needs to draw this game. Maybe so. Let's talk about the game today. Look, injury news. Sonny's missing. Romero's missing. And Basuma's apparently 50-50. Apparently the rest of the squad is okay and healthy. Healthy is probably not the right term. They're probably, a lot of them are hungover, especially Brennan Johnson. He must be battered beyond belief. Look, today, though, is a situation where, so if you're not aware, right, this may be your first season of supporting a Premier League side. on the last day of the season, all the Premier League teams play at one time. So obviously, when you look at this season, right, and the race for top 5 European football, there's so many getting in there that they try and make them all play at the same time. So that way, it's exciting when it's like, oh, Nottingham Forest taking lead against Chelsea. This is what it does to the league table. And you see it at live time and people move positions and things like that. You know, Fulham are playing Manchester City and Newcastle played Everton at home, I think. Don't shoot me on that one. I don't really know. But, you know, they're all playing at the same time. So you can see all things move. You know, relegation, it used to be the same thing. Teams in the relegation, they used to battle each other. There really is only the sort of top 5, the European spots. That's where the race is this year, okay? There is no relegation. There's no title hunt. There's nothing else. It's just that, right? Spurs, obviously, in theory, have nothing to play for. I wouldn't be shocked, right? This wouldn't shock me if Daniel Levy had said to players, agents, and players, like, look, Sunday was obviously last game of the season. Every position in the league table is, you know, an extra few million in terms of revenue from being in the league. Hey, if we go up a couple of positions and we make 6 million, I'll share out another 3 million between the player and staff. You know, just to incentivize them. You know, if we go up one position, I'll give you 1.5 million because it's the last game of the season. Spurs have absolutely nothing to play for. You know, the higher ups want us to win because obviously if we go up in the league, you know, Premier League table, hang on. Premier League table. So a win today and we would go up to 14th if results go our way, okay? You got United, West Ham and Wolves who are playing. West Ham play away to Ipswich Town. Man United play at home to Aston Villa. They're obviously fighting for top 4 or top 5 football. Wolves play at home to Brentfords. Okay, so I'd expect, you know, not all of them to win. But you know, the idea is, you know, you could easily sway players into to go in for it. And Brighton will be up for it. Brighton were up for it against Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool were very much like, we just do not care about this game. And you could really tell they did not care about this game of football on Monday bin. Spurs obviously will have a situation on hands in terms of who may or may not start this game. I'd expect there to be some rotation. Hell, Mikey Moore probably had a few drinks, allegedly. It's allegedly. Probably did have a few, though. Can he be sober enough to play? Look, in reality, I'd expect some changes. I would expect to see players who didn't really play much in the final as well. There might be some starters. You know, it wouldn't shock me if there were some starters. But, you know, I think about, you know, Richie. Richie should start. He's probably gone in the summer. Richie to start up front. You know, Odegaard to play. Tell to play. The midfield's interesting because if Bazoum's out injured, you very much... I'd expect to see Bentancur and Sarr. And they might play Odegaard at the 10 even. And they might go and try and play Mikey, you know, and they might do that. So the defense, I think... I mean, they might even play Archie Gray, Bentancur, and Sarr in the midfield. But I'd expect to see Big Kev Danso. I'd expect to see Davies. I'd expect to see Spence. You might even see Reguilon again. Kinski in goal. So I'd expect to see rotation again. You know, maybe some starters off the bench, you know, from who played, you know, Monday. I'd expect to see them. But I wouldn't expect to see the team that you would have sort of seen on Wednesday, that's for sure. Spurs want Garnacho. Okay, I said it right at the start of the video. I've talked about him. Graham midfield, yeah. See some academy players. Yeah, I'd expect to see some academy players. You know, I don't think Brighton will rotate very much. I don't think they will. I mean, looking at the Premier League table, Brighton with a draw would guarantee them 8th. And I don't know how it truly works. I think Forest need to beat Chelsea today. Villa need to go above Chelsea. Chelsea then win the Conference League or something like that. I think that's how it works. And then Brighton might get Conference League. I don't really know how it works. I'm not really that bothered. You know what I mean? It's like it's irrelevant to us. I don't really care. But they'll be up for it. They'll be playing. I don't think they've got a ton of injuries, Brighton. I think, there's not as healthy as you could. They're probably as healthy as you could expect. So, I don't think they'll be taking it easy. So I think Brighton, like I said, I think Brighton are going to win. I think I said 2-1. I think I said 2-1. So I think they'll win today. I don't think any of us should be shocked if they win it as well. I think that's the other thing I'd say. I think we should all probably kind of go, they're probably going to win. We're missing the best centre back we have, one of the best attackers we have. We're missing probably a midfielder we have. So that alongside the fact they've just been drinking the last few days. The injuries, Madders, Kulusevski and Bergval, Radu as well. You factor it in, you're missing those four. If you're missing Son, Romero and Bissouma, you're missing 7 players today already. Like, it's just not going to happen, is it? Like, I'm going to be real, it's just not going to happen. But yeah, what do you think? What do we think the scoreline is going to be today? I think a lot of people think we're going to get absolutely slapped for 7. But what do we think? Youngsters should get a run. Mikey in the 10. See Graham midfield. That's a nice look. That's all right, Kate. I'd rewatch maybe the first sort of 7 or 8 minutes. That's where I sort of talked about him in a bit of detail. Scarlett. Yeah, I think Scarlett could get a run up today off the bench. I think Richie will start and then Scarlett. Isn't Grealish too slow for Ange Ball? I wouldn't say he's too slow. No. Dorrington, yeah. Aberdeen winning the Scottish Cup yesterday on penalties. Dorrington scoring an own goal. And then Kasper Schmeichel scored an own goal for Celtic. And then Aberdeen won on penalties. Congratulations to Alfie Dorrington, who wins the trophy himself this season. He wins the Scottish Cup. Absolutely fantastic. Leyton Orient, I believe, are today, are they not? Quick look. Leyton Orient. Yeah, today, 1 o'clock. Leyton Orient versus Charlton in the League One playoff final. Obviously, Josh Keeley and Jamie Donnelly in that. I'm going to watch that game. I actually am going to watch that game. I was going to go out and do stuff, but football isn't going to be around after today, pretty much, other than the odd game or two. So I think I'm going to make the most of it and sit back and watch a ton of football. I've even been asked to play football today. Someone's asked me, do you fancy playing 6-a-side later? Am I going to have to dust off the boots? Am I going to have to go out there and come out of retirement? I have to wait and see. Tottenham 3-0, 3-1. We'll lose 4-0. 2-1. Brighton. Fraser forced a goal. 5-0. Ours as pints. Party mode, yeah, it's party mode today, mate. Party mode. Playoff today. That League One playoff is more important to me results-wise with what Donnelly to do. Well, look, I mean, if you factor in, Wednesday we would have won European trophy, right? So yesterday, Dorrington with Aberdeen on penalties in the Scottish Cup. Then you go Leyton Orient for Josh Keeley and Jamie Donnelly. A lot of players would have won stuff away from us this season. Happy bloody days, you know what I mean? Happy bloody days. Celtic win the treble, which shows it's not guaranteed, and she did a great job for them. Ooh. I don't know on Lancashire, actually. I don't know. 4-1 Spurs. As I appreciate it, Hill. Appreciate it, mate. As they can play, Ange boys fine. No, well, yeah. Look, so I think we are going to lose today. I will be real. 2-1 is my kind of guess. Look, I'd love to win today. It'd be fantastic to win today. Heads up on the review. I may go live after the game, but if I'm going to go play six-a-side, I might be a bit late to a review. I think kickoff for six-a-side 6 p.m. tonight. So I don't know if I will play or not, but I might go and play. Show them all how it's done, let everyone know that I've still got it. 29, I'm in my prime. I should be getting my call up for England later. But if I do go live, we'll go live probably 7:15 p.m. Talk about the game. I will still watch. I'll still watch the game, obviously. I'm not going to not watch the game. I think it's an opportunity to... And again, like I've always said about these sort of games, it's an opportunity for players to show something. And it also, like, let's be real, it could be for an opportunity for some players to show, to put themselves in the transfer market window, for teams to look at them. There's that, it's also an opportunity for players who want to be here for next season to show, I still want to be here. Like, let me show you. So let's sort of see on today. I think we are going to struggle. 7 players out injured. You're starting captain and vice captain in missing in Son and Romero. Your 3 most creative midfielders are out. Your one of your rotational centre backs is also... You're missing 2 centre backs again today, so there's that. You've got issues and injuries today. There's also that. You've got to factor that in, Can we play Kinski, Spence, Davies, Danso, Pedro, Archie, Bispape, Mikey, Matisse, Wilson? You might not be far off, Baz, mate. You might not be far off. Champions don't go into a match to lose. Annie, what position do you play? When I last played 11-a-side, was a winger/striker. And then I decided to put on loads of muscle and weight. So I'm probably CDM centre-back now. I was always a good defender. But I was also really quick. So that's why they put me up front. But probably a CDM centre-back, something like that. I'll probably like Casemiro. I've not got the legs anymore. So we'll see. But look, we'll see about today. You never know what the game might bring today. The game might bring us some very, very interesting things. Yeah, Casanova, Ajayi, all those guys on the bench wouldn't shock me. Olosesi. Eze's most important player. I'd like to get him as well. With football, my best position was left, right out. Absolutely. Yeah, Biss is, I believe, still in the boozer. I'll have to go find him. But look, we'll see about today. We'll see about it. But we should enjoy today. Enjoy it today. Brighton are giving us a guard of honour. They're giving us a guard of honour today. So very nice of them. How many guard of honours have you said you could watch for Tottenham? Just saying. There you go. Son and Romero are playing through injuries, apparently. That's why. Appreciate, yeah. Every like, by the way, recently has been massive. Yesterday, when we did that really long video, we had loads of likes. The video's got over 4,000 views as well. It's mental. So, yeah, every like obviously is massive for algorithms. I did appreciate everyone that did like it and subscribed. We had like 30 new subscribers yesterday or something ridiculous. So, really do appreciate it. You make all of this YouTube lark very much enjoyable, especially prior to Wednesday. It was a very difficult season, but Wednesday and the last few days has been a hell of a lot of fun doing YouTube. Honestly, I've enjoyed it so much. The euphoria, this feeling, you just can't lose it. No summer fruit squash jam on, apple and elderflower sparkling water. There you go. But look, thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. You absolute bloody legends. I'll be back later to talk about the Brighton game. Why not? We'll talk about the season a little bit as a whole. We'll do a bit of a debrief of it all. But thank you all so much for joining me today. Go enjoy the rest of your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings, wherever you are in the world. And I'll speak to you all a little bit later to talk a lot more about Tottenham. Take care, everyone. Peace.